All right, everyone, that fateful day has come. It's Weed Day. It's also Hitler's birthday and the anniversary of Columbine. So, one out of three being okay isn't bad. As most people probably know, I oppose the drug war, but I thought this was a mimetic time, a very special one, because the number of subscribers over time was getting very close to 420. Like, and weeks ago, I was like, oh, it looks like at this particular rate, I might hit 420,000 YouTube subscribers on 420, and how fucking hilarious that is. And then it happened, actually, as of last night. So thank you to everyone who subscribed, which is like 400 additional people on top of what I had yesterday. That's actually quite an increase considering the fact that YouTube algorithmically demotes literally everything that I do. Makes it virtually unsearchable, makes it so that related videos typically on my channel or any associated channel, it's CNN, basically. CNN, RT, Breitbart, Fox News. Yeah, like literally, directed some fucking Sarah Palin speech probably after you watch my videos. Nobody knows how YouTube does this, and censorship is terrible. I would say the drug war, though, really is a symbol. This is sort of a drug war special here, and I've spoken about it before because I think drugs should be legal anyway. Not just weed, but it's 420, so just focus on that maybe. The war on marijuana specifically has been an abject failure and a symbol of totalitarianism, but also its failings. Really the failing of authoritarianism in central government. When we think about this, by the way, conservatives have sort of come around to this. Like in the Trump populist era, they've left some of the moralism behind. But really throughout, especially the 80s through the 2000s, conservatives and moral majority members on the so-called left, like the bleeding heart types, they were always like really anti-drug, anti-rap music, anti-heavy metal, think of the children, pearl clutchers, basically. And it's really, really funny because you'd see people who claim fiscal conservatism, but they want taxpayers to shell out huge amounts of money to keep Harold the Hippie in jail for lengthy periods of time. And it never really made sense, at least from the economic standpoint. One cannot really have a drug war or any other sort of moral fight of that kind at the central level, taxpayer funded, and call themselves a social conservative. You're wasting money and it doesn't work. That's the other part. We always get all these pragmatic liberals. Well, let's have governance that makes sense. All of this other junk, it doesn't do anything but trickle down, and stuff like that. No, we wasted money bombing people. But they have no problem wasting money on this. And for a very long time, these cowards didn't speak out against it, even on that pragmatic basis, any more than the conservatives did on a fiscal basis. Now they're all Johnny-come-latelys. Now you've got a bunch of people saying, well, maybe weed's not that bad. We should probably let the states legalize it. Even Trump, really. Trump was fairly early compared to some of these people. He already didn't care about marijuana, at least in the medical sense, back in the early 2000s. He came out in support of it, and a supposedly very far-right individual, he's coming out in support of something that at the time had like 30% support among the population and only was done in a couple of states, and let alone recreational marijuana. Now all of a sudden a bunch of states have flipped that on its head, basically nullified the war on pot. And now all of a sudden the Democrats, who never championed that cause for the most part until fairly recently, the last 15 years certainly, not even when I was already, well into my teens. They claim the mantle of having like mercy for the pot dealer or something, and that's just not the way it is. The only group prior that really fought for that were the libertarians. And you get like the latent green movement that nobody even cares about, but that's basically just Democrats who want more environmentalism at this point anyway, and really isn't even a political force within U.S. politics at large. The drug war was championed by people who claimed that they wanted to save money, but had no problem with spending money, jailing people, no-knock raids at 3 a.m. because someone smelled a joint, and stupid things like that. And liberals actually championing the same drug war on a pragmatic basis, pretending that it'll, help society somehow. Really, the left sold out on the issue. They're Johnny-come-latelys. I was arguing against the drug war before a lot of leftists were. Of course, on that issue, I suppose if on a dichotomous scale, if you believe in dichotomous policy, which I don't, now I would be far, far left, because I also want to legalize heroin. I think that we should get people addiction treatment. Marijuana is not heroin, though. And so on 420, my message is, I'm not going to blaze it. Here, it's a funny thing. I'm hitting 420,000 subscribers on 420. I'm sitting here in Amsterdam, of all places, and I'm not smoking weed. I haven't for years, but I still think people should be able to do that. It's not particularly harmful. Let's dispel some mythologies here. Little Timmy smokes weed. That does not mean he's going to end up addicted to crack. That's just not the way that things work. And I imagine there must be so many people smoking up today because of boredom from being locked indoors for an extended period. And look, the weather is fine. It's a nice, beautiful spring day. It's about 55, 60 degrees out. It couldn't be nicer right now. Blue skies, it's known for being kind of a dreary, dark climate here, but we haven't had really even clouds for 3 weeks. It's people, they get bored. They have drugs around. Alcohol sales have skyrocketed in areas where alcohol is still available to the point of shortages in parts of the United States. It's being reported. Alcoholism definitely becomes a problem with chronic boredom. Just ask the Norse. There was a reason for their weird mythologies. Marijuana is probably a close second in most people's books. Just don't take up tobacco smoking. That would actually be harmful to you, unlike, a certain other herb that disclaimer I'm not officially suggesting people should use. And again, I don't use myself at this point, haven't in a decade, but it should be legal. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you to everyone that subscribed. I just wanted to rant about pot because it's 420 and I thought the mimetic importance was quite funny. I should have tried to aim for 4 minutes and 20 seconds for the video length too, but getting it right on the money is hard because sometimes YouTube adjusts it a second in one direction or the other. I think they do that just to troll people that want a certain video length. And I shit you not, I really do think that's why they do that. It's sort of like when they're in a football game, how they always move the ball like an inch or something when they're analyzing exactly where it fell. And you've always noticed this with the refs in football. It's the same thing. That's about all. Peace out.